everyone, and in today's video I'm going to be testing this AMD A8 6600K on this 68HM Plus ASUS motherboard. Now, just a quick overview, I'm using this Cooler Master Cooler to cool the CPU. Got 8GB of RAM on here. For I/O we have audio, 1, 2, 3, 4 USB, Ethernet here, HDMI and your PS2. So yeah, that's basic overview. PCIe there, which we're not going to be using. We'll be using integrated graphics. So yeah, let's get on and test it. As you can see, we're now on the PC. For our CPU, we have the A8 6600K as previously mentioned, with those integrated graphics and 8GB of RAM, paired with our usual test SSD. Now our first test is going to be Minecraft, since we couldn't get Rocket League to work properly because of the outdated CPU, I imagine, so the anti-cheats didn't work. As you can see, we're now in the test world and it feels quite smooth, 8 chunks, quite usable, all the lowest settings. I am on native resolution, 1080p, which is good. See on F3 menu here, we're getting around 75 FPS. Before all the text popped up, because the text does lower the FPS a bit. So yeah, around 75 FPS with dips to about 40 sometimes. But yeah, completely playable. If I turn up the render distance up to about 16 chunks and wait for it to load. As you can see, at 16 chunks we're getting about, not 75 FPS, about 60 FPS now, but with more dips to 50 and 40 FPS, even down to 36 FPS there. So I'd say it's playable, just leave it about 12 or 8 chunks and expect a lot of dips. So it's time for a TNT test. That's the TNT, now it's time to detonate it. As you can see, the FPS went down to 11 and it did lag quite a bit, but I'd say it's quite alright now. So yeah, TNT test passed. Even though the CPU is really old and didn't even work with Rocket League, good enough to play Minecraft. On to the next test. As you can see, the next game I'm testing is CS2. I'm on 900p on all of the lowest settings, you can see here. So we're just gonna go into a test, see how it runs. As you can see, I'm now in the game and we're getting about 17 FPS with a lot of freezes. So not perfect, not good. I wouldn't call this playable. Maybe if you, I don't know. Nah, this is not playable at all. Although it is quite a bit of fun if you want to play on this really old computer. I'm surprised it even ran actually after I installed the graphics drivers. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. You can see a freeze right there, down to 0 FPS. And pretty much everything is on max. You know, the PC's trying its hardest. But CS2 is quite lightweight for the graphics and everything running, so I wouldn't call this playable. On to the next game. As you can see, I'm now in GTA 5 and I'm on 800 by 600, 60 Hz on all the lowest settings I could possibly put at. So we're going to do benchmark mode and see how it runs. As you can see, it is now running, and here we're getting about 33ish, 35ish FPS. In story mode usually runs a bit better because it's not from the top, but your character's just down, so it doesn't render as much stuff far away. So it'll probably be about 40 FPS in story mode. Here from the top at daytime, getting about 40ish FPS. This is one of the first cases where the CPU and GPU are both maxing out. Here we saw like a max of 45 FPS ish. Now just before the playing part we're getting about 35ish FPS. But now that we're on the playing part we're getting about 46, up to 60 even. See, about 50ish FPS, which is not bad. Still, I'm not 100% sure why we get such high FPS in this part. stuttering is quite horrible. As we saw in CS2, the stuttering was quite bad, but it's worse here. Wouldn't really call this playable, but I'm sure you can find some configuration on YouTube that shows best configuration for low-end PCs. So yeah, on the lowest settings and one of the lowest resolutions, getting about 53 with stutters, and it doesn't really load in properly. Possibly in story mode this could run fine, but I'm not sure. Test it and see. On to the next game. As you can see, the next test is BTD6, and the CPU and GPU are not even being fully used, especially the CPU, and it's running perfectly fine. So it's on the max 60 FPS. I'm sure it'd go above that into the hundreds. So yeah, if you want to do some Bloons tower defense like gaming on this thing, then that'll be perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. Some more action is going on. When there's a lot of balloons, it might dip down to 40-ish, 30-ish, but yeah, perfectly playable on some good maps. On to the next test.
Good idea.
As you can see, we are now on Overwatch 2 at 720p all low. So we're gonna start a game and see how it runs. As you can see, we are now in the game, and it doesn't run very well. If I look at the floor, you get a solid 40 FPS. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend playing this game. Overwatch, I thought it was a light game, but not on this CPU. The CPU is quite garbage. There's black bars on some of the textures. There was no problem installing. It's just the PC's that bad with the graphics. Alright, on to the next test. As you can see, the next test is YouTube. I'm on 480p 30 FPS. Just playing the video here. The CPU struggles a lot, going up to 60, spiking up. It wasn't spiking like this before I started recording. And putting it in 2x speed doesn't really struggle that much. So let's turn it up to 1080p, just 1080p 30. And still it doesn't struggle actually. The CPU has gone up quite a bit, up 56, 60. So yeah, bumping it up to 4K now. And it's better than some of the others I've seen. I guess the integrated graphics are doing a lot of heavy lifting here. But yeah, not the best. It's kind of like a slideshow, I'd say. If we bump it down to about 40 and 40p, it's like a mixture of the performance from 4K and 1080p. But I'd suggest keeping it at 1080. So it is suitable for watching videos, although it'll probably heat up quite a bit. Just keep it at 1080p or lower. On to the next test. As you can see, the next game I'm testing is Sliver.io, and it's actually running really good, which is surprising because usually Sliver lags a lot for some reason. So yeah, it does lag a bit when there's more stuff going on. But yeah, I'd say Sliver.io is totally playable. It's not like you need a constant 100 FPS in order to kill the snakes, and this feels like quite a smooth 60 most of the time. So yeah, Sliver.io is playable. On to the next test. As you can see, our final test is WebGL Aquarium, as we always finish off with this. 1000 fishes, no problem, 60, 40% CPU usage, 5000, goes down a bit, 10,000, around 25 FPS, 15k, noticeable spike in CPU use, 15,000, 17 FPS, and a noticeable spike in CPU usage, 20,000, about 15 FPS, 25,000, about 10 FPS, 30,000, about 9 FPS, 10-ish, 9 FPS. The CPU is about 60%, and I assume the GPU would be higher up. Well, that's that. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.